Good day, people. Matter of fact, I need to add the date on the videos. At first I was doing it, and then I decided that I was not going to do it because I was making so many of them, and of course, like I just had something to say. So I was like, "Good Lord!" Somebody be like, "Ooh," and that's interesting because we could think of a lot of different things that we need to do or things that we want to do. Hey, some people, they're just really relaxed and not thinking about anything, but it couldn't be exactly our sentiment. The reason why is because there are goals and aspirations people have. If you have something that's trying to tell you that you shouldn't do anything or just relax, it's like, well, you are relaxing. Then that's going against, here it is, getting an education, getting employment. You know what I mean? Doing the things that you want to do as an entrepreneur. So, no, for somebody to say, well, that's our sentiment, not to do anything. Well, we have a lot of people not doing nothing. So, anyway, I was speaking on, I will be adding the dates on there for the beginning of the year. I was talking to somebody and, the date in the year, yeah. And I just said, well, hey, this is really a business. For them, they actually have something that they can offer, meaning a building. They have a cultural environment, where they teach culture. So whatever I'm conveying is a little different than what they have to say, okay, but now they're promoting their business. But then maybe for them, they're the church. You know what I'm saying? So for them to want to promote the culture, they may not want to do that. They want people to find it. But then I'm like, well, if people are looking for it, then you would probably have a lot more information or even show what you're doing, right? That's my thought. So I don't know. People are looking at a culture, but then I'm like, well, readily, if you look at a church or a culture, people want to be able to find it, no different than to the reservation, right? And this reservation had, man, matter of fact, I don't even think we got to the reservation. There was just so much other stuff that was leading up to that. And it was not readily what we would consider indigenous. They had moccasins all over the place. I'm not gonna go there, but you understand what I'm saying. You know, maybe handmade or just finding some of the art or some of the things that was considered traditional was now not commercialized, but it was just plenty of it. Okay, so for us to consider ourselves to be looking at culture, then yeah, you would think that we would want to have an imprint about our art and about things that readily defines um, characteristics of culture. And so when we were um, introduced to, let's say, African stuff, we ended up what we get. What was the first thing that we received was the kente cloth. We got fabric, and then you had these people wearing the little kufis and stuff like that. Anyway, and then that was a mix, not only with African, but it was also a religious movement that took place at that time. Lessons. Um, Looking at some of the things that I have said on some of the other videos, a lot of them are not thorough. Like I'm trying to explain something. Um, it may sound like parables or it may seem poetic. I realize that, I don't want to say too much on the on this um, social media like that. However, I want to say a whole lot. I don't want to say too much, not so much about, oh, you said this, because most of the stuff that I try to say is like, okay, what you got to say, Um, but I realize that it goes into an area where I want people to understand or participate in BB&D, which is development. So I was doing videos. I think that if some people will go back and they'll listen. I was doing blog talk on Street Meet. I was doing Street Meet the Point. But then readily, I was doing it every day. So I'm kind of thinking that maybe once a week. I'll pick it up maybe once a week. And that was just kind of giving information, but that was locally where I, and then even some of that information was sounding like, okay, well, we could do this, we could do that. And so it was just kind of generic and saying be involved with the community, be involved with the community. So the information really wasn't there. Then I was doing some videos where I was doing, going out to different places and meeting people as it related to just say random stuff that was focused on business. And I didn't think that was so great either. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay, what is it that you think that a person would be looking for? You know what I mean? It was just like, okay, well, if I'm out here, hey, how you doing? And mingling and listening in on some other information, how does that fit for SMC? And then me actually conveying that or that being a message to somebody else. Um, it wasn't that thought to even talk about or me going to businesses and saying, okay, well, we want to do business with you. Again, um, it wasn't that easy. So anyway, I don't even know if I want to do a blog talk. I'll just continue to do these little random videos. So lessons, if me saying, okay, well, we have analytical thinking, then analytical thinking would be something that would be that we're communicating with. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like that. But for me to be like, okay, well, yeah, well, analytical thinking is, I mean, I can go on the website or go to the library and just type up something and put it on there, as just random or information. But whenever you're communicating with other people and, you actually have a classroom setting, is a little different than posting something that is generic or common, So it's, and then it's what I'm looking at and what I'm looking for when I'm communicating with other people. Okay. So that's the reason why, some of the videos, kind of just like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, 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 yeah. No, seriously. You know, um, the conversation, like right now, we're working on Kwanzaa, and I spent some time vexed. um, maybe expectations, and I don't want to say expectations loosely. Um, I was applying, um, where something else was at an outreach at a communal level. My thing was is yes, but we needed funding. Either way it go. So something else wanted me to, not want to say just bend myself out, like, So we're just kind of, I'm like, no, 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 no. Right now, we're trying to bring some things to make some sense out of, even the effort, footwork. I'm realizing ever more how advertisement it becomes important. It costs money for advertisement, though. It really, really do. It costs money. Um, footwork as it related to, okay, well, listen, we're going to go door to door, but when I started to inquire with the door to door, there was a little bit more paperwork that I needed to work out. So I spent some time with that paperwork. So I didn't do door to door. At the time, I didn't think that it was quite all that necessary for 2019, possibly throughout the year. Not just here it is, okay, we got 10 days to make it all happen. You know what I mean? Not even throughout the year. I think that I gave myself a very good, time frame in regards to asking some of the corporations for money. Okay, it was our first one. Maybe I should have said, "Oh, it's our first one at this location." Um, so the thing is that even for, oh, okay, well, we're going to be, well, when we win, when we, then that's possible. We can advertise it, okay, and then people, we can create our schedule, and we can share our schedule with other people. You understand? Other than that, I have provided some information, and I'm like, hey, if we're talking about Kwanzaa being from Los Angeles, then it could look a lot more lucrative than what it does, meaning not only for the community, but those who have an interest for our collective worker responsibility. Okay, so it's like I'm looking at Essence Fest or the carnival and how we're able to build up activities for people who are wanting to be a part of, the Black family celebration. Okay, family, community, culture. It is first fruits harvest, as we all know it. First fruits, first fruits. So anyway, yeah, I mean, that is, 7 days for LA. I think that Los Angeles can handle it. I think that those people, oh man, we just went through all this color with these people, or they think we're gonna miss them, or I ain't gonna fib you, honey. All them people over there in Leimert Park, it's a call out to you. Yes, honey, you need to maintain that. You know what I'm saying? How you gonna say, okay, we're gonna give it up, or we're gonna wait and see what they do, see who we are with these people? I'm like, Lord have mercy. It doesn't matter in which we are learning. Even on the calendar or the docket, there are some people over there in El Segundo, there's some people over here, over there. But for the city of Los Angeles, now be included in Inglewood, but for the city. So we're looking at Leimert Park, and we're looking at Inglewood, we're looking at, I mean, hey, we want to have activities, people may show up, not may, we want people to show up. 7 days. Los Angeles can handle many, many, many people for 7 days. And we have activities and we have amenities to make it happen. Meaning that, hey, there's Disneyland, there's Knoxbury Farm, Christmas. I don't know about Six Flags. And it's cool, but I don't know about Raging Waters either. But the thing is that if we're thinking that we're going to have it like that, I'm sure that they will open them doors. There's Universal Studios, we got Hollywood, we got Catalina Island, we have the wine country, wine thing. So we have farming. Um, well, of course, more than just wine. There's Hollywood, we have museums, there's downtown LA. So yes, I think that it can be a sustaining effort, a reinforcement establishment, not only for. 'Cause I ain't gonna fib you, honey. If you go some other places and then you come here to LA, and I'm like, when I was out there, I was just like, oh. So I just realized that there are some, even at home, maybe some little wording I don't like it. I can't fall into agreement with all of that. You know what I mean? So it's not so much that I don't support, I do. However, for my effort, there are a few words that are a little different, and there are a few little differently However, I encourage people to know what they know. You understand? Because the thing is that we want to have be open minded and have understanding about many different things. But if you go all over the place and you come here, you will see. Matter of fact, I went to a few places, and then I just said, "I ain't gonna film you, honey. I'm coming back home." I said, "Lord have mercy. We're gonna do Kwanzaa right here. We're gonna work it out right here in Los Angeles, California." You know what I mean? People come out here. Hey, Kwanzaa! I don't know any other place that I can think of readily. Hey, people just walk around even in Louisiana, okay? For Essence Fest, and you have Soul Fest. People are just walking around, for that. Georgia, when we have Freaknik, people are driving around. There were a few people that go on the train. Then there was Mega Fest. Freaknik, I mean, people, there were the clubs. We got clubs. Man, we could do a full itinerary with all of that. Matter of fact, I went to somebody's house and they had the large candles. I mean, I ain't gonna flip you. They had their own bulb. I mean, when I tell you that they were tall as this house here, tall as our houses that we have here, but they were red, black, and green candles. This stuff is for real. But I'm like, okay, well, when mom I get home? I just said I spent 1 year. I'm just gonna just participate with the activities they have going on at home. 1 year. I said, okay, I'm gonna come early to find out what's going on. Lord have mercy. And let me explain something to you. One of the things about the celebration that was finding people wanting to fuel hate into it, or they want to have conversation about a white man and a black man. And I said, Lord have mercy. No, we're celebrating. We don't want to hear none of that. You have X amount of days before we get to the celebration and go. Now, moving right along. Moving right along. So yeah, we're gonna apply that. Like I said, we're at home. I think that for that, I think that it should look. People at Leimert Park, please. The foundation. Yeah, I think that whatever. Oh well, yeah, I'm like, I don't give a flying flip. Leimert Park is known for the. I understand all that. Oh well, here it is. It used to be better than this and this, that, and the other. Oh, we're gonna wait and see. Oh, what they got to say. We're gonna go around. Don't have. That's what I'm saying. Why are we double working ourselves like that? Having somebody, oh, see, we want to test it. We want to test it. I'm like, oh, Lord, let me show you. We want to test it. We want to test it. No, no, honey. Mm-mm. And we just running around. Just got our people running around, acting like we ain't doing shit. Uh, check. I realized that the applications, any one of them, and check. It's all of that. Somewhere near the thought to at first I wanted to focus on independence. That's one day, it could be more than one day. Matter of fact, I was like, honey, we could do 7 parks, because we right on the train. We had man, you can just go from one park, and we're on the train, you know what I mean? And then it's in a predominantly black neighborhood, the Swans. And I'm like, okay, well, all these people sitting there talking about all this modification, the gentrification, people are being moved out, they're trying to, sustain their homes and stuff like that. A lot of people with money are moving in, and they're changing the look of the community more or less, meaning that it's a little bit more colorful. Sometimes I'm asking these people, they just go round and around with themselves. What we have? I don't know. So anyway, I was out there and I am. So for July 4th, yes, honey, we're there. Honey, I'll be there. That'd be the goal. Now, 2000 was it 18 this year. What it was is I went home and I was just like, okay, with all this phone calls and running around outside of just saying somebody just gonna see me there. Funding. To buy a pack of hot dogs, you want people to support the reason why you are talking about chick. So I got in my ride, and I'm not gonna tell you no lie. Bloop, 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 hey. Delaware. I went to Delaware. Yeah, here it is. All roll around in Marlborough, Massachusetts. Yeah, I ain't gonna go there. But yeah, I was trying to get there just around the time they was going to do fireworks in Maine. Now, why the hell did I want to go all the way up there with me? I went all the way up there to me. Now, I was late. As a matter of fact, I probably could have stayed. I said, I'm going to drive to me. And I did a turn. Yeah, I drove. It meant something. Yeah, Maine. That's all the way up there in Maine. Crossing off all them bridges. Not all of them, but a good portion of them. There's bridges, 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 and water, water, water. In New York. Now I should have went to the Statue of Liberty. We're gonna do it again. Not, but we will do it for Independence. But we will do it again. I sure did. I was just like, it just wee went under the water, up the thing, that long drive. I don't know. They were going back and forth with themselves. Honey. Some parts was Maryland, some parts. I said when I got up there, I was like, it's so much history up there. It's just unbelievable. No, it's believable. I'm like, do those people know that? Do they know that they got a history up there? What's going on, y'all? Man, good Lord. I was like, yeah, we have to come back over there. We have to come back over there. But like I said, shit, you got to have other people. That's why BB&D matters. Me. I drove all the way to me for sovereignty. Whew, good Lord. Okay, so anyway, the lessons. Um, BB&D people, business building and development. I will advertise that. I will continue to communicate with the chambers. The thing is that with some of them, not with them, but some of the people that I was speaking with was talking about alumni, and some places have given scholarships. So maybe we can get into that conversation with them. The thing is for our business, what we would like to do is kind of reinforce, how we're doing business, support it. So it is a service. Um, Looking at it is a service. I'm not. I'm looking for producers. Who's producing? Yes, I'm looking for producers. That would be including farming. I think that maybe once we actually get to some things, I've been trying to throw darts at some social services where we're providing people who are providing services for veterans and reentry and stuff like that. They get this funding, from state or local funding, Now utilizing that, what does it mean for us to create that structure within one thing. I'm right now. My thought is I know readily people need to, they're just saying, okay, well, we're what farmers, but then how are we sustaining outside of just saying, okay, well, we have land. I had met a few people to that regards. I've become somewhat, hey, are we making sure that we're caring for ourselves and caring for people? You know what I mean? And then when I wanted to kind of participate with some things like a farmer, and it was like how we were just tossing it away, and then saying, okay, well, we're allowing somebody else to move in, and yet we know we got people who need. You understand? It doesn't make any sense. It's not a lesson, but it's just kind of explaining why the thought of reparations. How are we investing in one another if we're having complaints about reparations? So does that make any? Yeah, it makes sense to me. So when we begin to look at how we're able to get involved with that cycle of repairing um, people who may have come from an array of different struggles or indifferences about life, whether they're domestic or an array of that. There's different subjects in domestic. It could be a lot of stuff. You know that. The same thing with veterans, people looking for employment, people who may have social security checks, people who have children, people don't have anything, but they need somebody to help them get to certain things. Then you have mental stuff. Okay. Some people are just, they get tired. A woman say, hey, I was worried and fatigued. You're just like, okay, well, one moment, let me relax. Let me kind of rethink about what I want to do. Okay. So now when you have people who are out there like reparations, and we're looking at these people who are homeless or people who need housing. Matter of fact, I was telling the young man, I said, listen, let's focus on housing. And you having that conversation about reparation, how long ago that was? Yeah, that was a good few years ago. You know how many people we could have housed? Well, there goes that process where we all trying to get rich off of trying to help one another. As a group, we could probably do a whole lot of different things. They have all kind of cooperatives. You know what I'm saying? There's cooperatives in many, many places, not just singular purchasing properties, but being collective and saying, okay, well, these are the things that we want to do, having the funding, housing have funding, not just, the housing department where we're talking about projects and stuff like that. Hey, they're talking about all this money, but then readily, a lot of people, matter of fact, somebody, and it was like they were helping people, right? But then yet here it is, it was like, oh yeah, they got this money and stuff like that, and they no longer have a place to stay. So yeah, we got to read between all them thin lines, okay? So that yes, we would need lawyers. We need to make sure that people are protecting our interests. And not only that, when we begin to look at, matter of fact, our older people or people who have property, live in estates and all that other kind of stuff, and that, hey, we can help them and they can help us. So there's a lot of stuff. You understand? When we start talking about reparations, we got a lot of people out there. Not only do they need their houses fixed, because when I was at home, I mean, it was just your, many other places, one or two, three, okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, okay, numerals. Um, People needed repair to their properties. So that's why I'm like, well, when we say housing, what do we mean? Hey, those are different subjects. If we want to say, okay, well, yeah, well, I think these people, we can focus on this. We can focus on that. We just see a lot of that's tied into being. When we start looking at social issues or individual issues, personal issues or whatever, or concerns or likeness or whatever, you know what I mean? And then when we start talking about grants or, other opportunities like that, you need people who are going to be committed. So when we start talking about BB&D, it's just a little class session and everything, but we get that phone call, be like, "Hey, you ready?" Now we're talking about credit and credentials, not only in the financial world, but hey, the pockets of people that we know, man. And then there goes Chick. you know, hey, they had the little dance like this. That's Chick. You know, you people they see it when they do the power. I'm like, honey, we've been doing that a long time. Oh gosh, glory be to us. I was looking at this video, and this person is trying to explain to these people what to do, what not to do. It reminded me of that song, "We're Riding Dirty." Riding dirty, dirty, something, right? And so at the time, they were encouraging the men because they were driving and being stopped to make sure that they had insurance. Make sure that they had a driver's license. Make sure that they were able to drive the car. And so it's not so much that we not need to tell ourselves these different things. Looking at human rights or rights, and people who not want to test it, because if you're just sitting there minding your business and Popo just pull up on you, and you're not doing anything, you'd be like to yourself, you'd be like, dang, why you bothering me? You're like, hey, I ain't bothering. Then they want to do all this, and you're like, where my rights, my rights, I just wanted to say, as I was listening to that person, to say this. Well, you have the right to remain silent. And then, if you're asked a question, say something, but be sweet. But that would be the point right there. Them lying on an innocent person. Now, what we're gonna do? I was like, you got people who's trying to tell people to stay out of jail, and then those people who want to talk about their rights and find their asses locked up. But no, the in car. Now, what we're gonna do? Man, this is sad, right? What you gonna? I mean, and yet here it is. We've seen Fibs is lying, just like Reed is lying. Well, Leo is Reed. Lion is Reed. Yeah, I'm like, wow, yeah, if you have the right to remain silent. But then if you don't say nothing, then yeah, here it is. They'll be chumped up for nothing. You understand where I'm coming from? Now you sitting there talking about your rights. You're like, I wasn't doing anything. And then yeah, here it is. And I ain't gonna feel that's what I'm complaining about right now. Yeah, just be sweet and just say, because I'm trying to explain to people about these sweetest days of the year, sweetest months of the year. I told them November, December. Yes. October, November, December. And the reason why, I mean, I guess, hey, you can find a lot of stuff on YouTube, but I realized that, when you talking to different people and you're conveying understanding, that comes in a group effort. Because you get some people so caught up on these religion, holidays. Keep it easy. It really does have a lot of stuff behind all of that. Like Halloween and Thanksgiving, Columbus. Be all up and down in that October, boy. November. Oh, it is in November. October, November, December. Yeah. Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Columbus, veterans. Is it veterans? Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on. POWMIA. The other side of that. Rome. It's cold. Get somebody warm. Keep it light. You see the rattles? Right there. And this is the stuff I'm getting ready for Saturday. Good Lord. It's already here. I got a couple of things. So we just kind of go as we are. We're going to go shopping for our little snacks. It's like, wow. I'm trying to clean up. I got to do a whole lot of stuff. I won that. So I'm going to bring that, I think. I want a nice looking cake too. I can't eat all of that. I had to give that away. I don't think I have a sweet tooth. I was not going to eat the entire cake all by myself. I just know I was not going to do that. Mm-mm. A cupcake. That's not bad. Oh, yeah. All right, people. I ain't talking about nothing. However, those lessons, BB&D, please look for it. I will be at an effort with BB&D. I don't know if I want to be all like that either. I do. But I want to go and talk to some of these established organizations and companies and look for alumni. People who alumni and stuff like that. Matter of fact, when I was at one of those meetings, I was explaining to them how we do have people that when I was writing the paper that the BOP, and I ain't talking about the BOP like prisoners. However, the bottom of the pyramid exists. And there's a lot of bottoms, when you think about different things. So I wanted to start that conversation where it was talking about people who finished college and how they need employment, you know what I mean? And, they have ideas, whether it's entrepreneurship or whether readily, them getting involved and being hired. But I wanted to kind of start there because when people get an education, now they have to pay bills. Some of us are fortunate, but the same thing. You need employment. You need resources to help pay your bills. You can look at your credit cards and all that other kind of stuff, housing, whatever. And one of the things was is before we look at homelessness, we're looking at people who were graduating from school, coming from home and going to school, and I'm readily looking for employment and looking for the opportunity to become entrepreneurs. Okay, so I was kind of looking there. Like I said, there's a lot of other subjects and places that we could look, but I was like, okay, if we start right there, it was not excluding anybody. However, we start right there and we are able to now look at how we're able to kind of structure, okay, our business. And so I just saw that how BB&D, business building and development, can be an essential element, a tool for that, and we can get people who have different experiences or knowledge from their education. And then, this thought was before we had apprentice, but we have a window of what apprentice look like from different perspectives. Okay, So when we look at apprenticeship, we actually, if we go to the Department of Labor, they've also created that, and we have people who are doing a phenomenal thing with that as well. The entrepreneurship programs, whether they were looking at trade, okay. Um, my thing is though, I want to focus on an array of different stuff. When I start doing my efforts, as I stated before, I want to look at raw materials, areas where we're looking at farming and the infrastructure of our walls, or not even the infrastructure, but what our walls are looking like. You know what I mean? One of the things as I was growing up, I was looking at walls. And what do you mean by walls, Irene? Well, where was the raw materials coming from? You know, when we start looking at the different areas of raw materials and who are needing it, are we manufacturing? So when you're looking at raw materials, now you're looking at land, you're looking at a lot of different things differently. Who is coming to you to supply a good or um, right, a good, a product, okay? Um, so I was like, wow, I mean, we could talk about all the gems and the oils and all the other kind of stuff. We could talk about all the limestones and the lime. We could talk about the rainforest. We could talk about a lot of different stuff when we start looking at minerals. So I was like, okay, I don't want to go so deep, deep, deep because, like I told you, you start listening to them things, boy, I tell you the truth, they'd be like, oh, okay, we need to make the dirt. I'm like, oh, one moment, even with the farming, we could look at a land with nothing with farming, but no, you could actually buy farms with all of that. Buy the farm that already have it, And yet, don't get me misunderstood. You start getting good like that. Yes, now you have the money to contact NSF. I know nsf.gov. Get in contact with them. They'll help you out with your equipment and stuff. You know what I mean? NSF, not non-sufficient funds, but what is it called again? National Science Foundation or something. Is that what it is? Oh Lord, let me look. Please. Oh, what is NSF? Lord have mercy. NSF. Lord. Non-sufficient funds, but this is NSF. Oh, National Science Foundation. That's what it is. National Science Foundation. We start talking about it, teens. All right, talking about I got things to do. Ooh, good Lord, look at the time. Okay, people, TTYL.